Thanksgiving Day tradition of each person at the gathering sharing something for which they are grateful. We've done this in various ways over the years. One year when our gathering had more of the extended family in attendance, there were more than 30 of us. We had a thankful tree, and different family members wrote on construction paper leaves what they wanted to thank God for. Another year we wrote our gratitude on construction paper feathers, and we fashioned a turkey tail. Other years when the group is smaller, we just share what we're thankful for verbally. This year, based on the Psalm for today, and its image of those who go out with seeds to sow, carrying their sheaves back in, I'm thinking about printing out a sheaves of grain little drawing that I found on the internet, and asking everyone at our table to write what they're thankful for on those sheaves of grain. You really can access that picture of a sheaf of grain on the internet, by the way. I encourage you to do that. Looking back and intentionally giving thanks and gratitude for what God has done in the past year is a helpful practice, and I commend it to you for this year's Thanksgiving meal, wherever you happen to have it. And I really hope you will do it. You don't have to put your gratitude down on a construction paper leaf or a feather or a sheaf. Just do it. A word from one of your pastors, just do it. The writer of today's short psalm begins with a fond memory of what God has done in the past. Notice the words are in the past tense. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Israel, we were like those who dream. Our mouth was filled with laughter, our tongues with shouts of joy, and all the people around us said, God has done great things for them. And then, as if to cement the point, the psalmist reiterates, oh yes, God has done great things for us, and we rejoiced. I love the poetry of that part of the psalm. When God helped us, we were like those who dreamed. We were like people who couldn't quite believe what was happening to us was real, like people who pinch themselves and say, can this really be true? But in a good way, a way that can't help but make you laugh with glee and shout with joy. A little like some of you probably felt when the Caps won the Stanley Cup. A little like I felt when the Cubs won the World Series a couple of years ago. It's good to have those sorts of can you believe it moments to look back on, and have them about something more meaningful than the success of a sports team is important too. But I'll tell you, when a sports team succeeds and you've been rooting for them for a long time, it feels pretty darn good. It's almost like you're dreaming. For the Israelites who voiced today's psalm, the event was their return from exile in Babylon in 538 BCE. But I wonder what sort of big things you and I might recall. The restoration of a relationship that had been broken, the ongoing recovery of a loved one from addiction, the unbelievable privilege of being able to hear someone like Brian Stevenson speak, the joy of holding your long-awaited child or grandchild for the first time, the graduation, the retirement party, the engagement, the wedding, the moment you heard the news about your health and it was nowhere near as bad as you thought it would be, or even better, that your disease had gone into remission. Now, if you can't come up with something like that, so wonderful that it seemed like it was a dream this year, try listing little things that might not be so small after all when you count them all up. The loyal friend who is there for you to laugh and cry with through it all. The joy a pet or pets bring you. The way people from Emmanuel or elsewhere were there for you in times of heartache and loss. The way a cup of coffee tastes and feels on a cold fall morning. The experience of your favorite flavor of ice cream. The giggle of a child. the warm embrace of someone dear to you. Come to believe that all of these things, all of them, are gifts of God. When we notice them and we gather them into our consciousness, they become part of life's harvest of gratitude. Think on these things and give thanks this Thanksgiving. Write them down. Share them with people around your Thanksgiving table. They really are like sheaves that we bring to the meal. Even as I say that, I'm cognizant of the fact that this psalm was first written in a particular context, speaking to a specific agricultural problem in the life of the people of Judah in the years after they returned from the Babylonian exile. The author of the psalm gets right down to the nub of it in the second half of the psalm. After celebrating God's goodness in the past, the psalmist asks for God's help. Restore our fortunes, Lord, evoking the wadis and the Negev desert, the dry riverbeds which rush with waters after the rains finally come. The psalm turns to the issue, and the issue is the climate that year. There hasn't been enough rain. The drought means that the crops don't look like they're going to come in this year, and they might not come in the next year either. So much for sheaves. So the psalmist prays, may those who sow in tears go out with seed to plant weeping, reap with shouts of joy. That's a prayer for hard times. We all know what it's like to go through hard times. Each of us knows what that's like. And we all know people who have gone through or are going through harder times than we have. You might think about them. I have a friend who is fond of saying, this too shall pass. It may pass like a kidney stone, but it's going to pass. Whatever it is, it'll pass. It'll pass eventually, and something else will come in its place. Because life is not static. People we love and think we can never live without die or move away or leave us in some other way. Illness and death come. The plan doesn't work out. The best laid plan just doesn't work out. Crisis of the moment gets worse or it gets better, and then it fades into the rearview mirror. The opportunity before us goes by, whether we seize it or not. The good times and the hard times both pass. The question for those times, for our time, for any time really, is as another friend of mine put it quite directly to me this week. So what? Now what? So what? Now what? Mixed in with the expression of gratitude at any Thanksgiving table are other emotions too. Sorrow and tears over who's not there, perhaps a little anxiety or fear about what's to come in the future, or anger and resentment about what is or what was. It is what it is. If that's what it is, whatever it is, now what? The answer the psalm gives, I think, in the midst of a season of drought, is to pray and plant seeds. Prayer is, may those who sow with tears reap with shouts of joy. Pray that, but keep planting seeds, because without seeds, whether you plant them or scatter them or someone else does or the plants just go to seed themselves, there will be no sheaves. Sheaves only come from seeds. Without seeds, there will be no sheaves. Farmers are intentional about planting seed because they know there's a relationship between the amount and type of seed they sow and the harvest they reap. Sow lots of corn seed and you're far more likely to get lots of corn, but you're not going to get wheat. Sow lots of wheat seed and you're far more likely to get lots of wheat, but you're not going to get corn if you plant wheat. As I think about it, that's a different take on so what, now what? What are you going to sow? What am I going to sow in this world and in this time, in in the here and now what? So this Thanksgiving, as you share your gratitude around the table, let me take a moment to encourage you, by the way, to invite people who do not have a table to be around to share Thanksgiving with you. But also think about what sorts of seeds, what sorts of actions, what sorts of acts of generosity and faithfulness and hospitality and sheer dogged determination led to the sheaves you are bringing in to celebrate this Thanksgiving, whether you planted those seeds or not. I think of Brian Stevenson's story about his grandmother. Remember that story? His grandmother would always grab him and hug him for far too long. She'd just hug him. And he felt like he couldn't breathe. And then she'd finally let him go. And she'd say, "You still feel that hug? You still feel that hug?" Think about what Brian Stevenson has done with his life. And I think those hugs from his grandmother were seeds that she planted. You still feel that hug? Think about how that seed she planted rippled out in all sorts of seeds of blessing that Brian has gone on to plant. Think about the seeds that you or I might plant or scatter this year that could lead to sheaves of gratitude in the future for yourself or for others. And I think about more than just our own kin. On the way to church this morning, I was listening to an interview and someone spoke about how we care so much about our own children. What about other people's children? Should we care about them? Think about how the seeds we plant can affect many more people than just ourselves. Think about the seed that we want to plant. How about you and I practice goodness and kindness and faithfulness and gentleness and humility and self-control and patience and generosity, and you name the wonderful thing. It's not just the fruit of the Spirit, by the way, because fruit has seeds. Tonight, as I reflect on seeds being planted, think about what happened this morning when Susan baptized Tommy and Rose. Think about the seeds that have been planted in them, the love they feel from this congregation. That all came from seeds being planted. We planted more seeds this morning, baptismal seeds, reminding them and all of us that we are called and claimed by God to do God's work in the world, to plant good seed. I think about our Transgender Day of Remembrance prayer room, and the way things like that bring our attention to the truth that there are people out there who are persecuted simply because of their gender identity. Is that right? Is that just? Prayer room is a seed planted. Think about the prayer shawls that our youth brought over, that we blessed this morning and will bless again tonight. All those shawls, the ones that you see right along there, and up here, and on the table, and on the pulpit, every single one of those shawls is a seed that will be planted. So reflect on this Thanksgiving, not just the sheaves you're bringing to your Thanksgiving table, but also the seeds out of which that harvest grew. And while you're writing what you're grateful for on your sheaf, or speaking out loud what you're grateful for at your table, commit yourself also to planting some good seeds in the year ahead. I'm going to do that too. I love the way that psalm ends, by the way. It's really lovely. I love the way it ends. It says, "Those who go out weeping, bearing the seed for sowing, shall come home with shouts of joy, carrying their sheaves. There's a prayer, and then there's a confident affirmation that this is going to happen. God will make those seeds turn into sheaves. So what? Now what? Give thanks and plant seeds.